Alright, folks, this is D-Roy Cruz. I gotta say this. Back to the Philippines. This couple right here, I guess they're a couple. I'm assuming they're a couple because, she's not all that young. She's got to be she looks like she could be in her 40s. He looks like he could be in his 60s or older. I'm assuming they're a couple. They're talking about crime in the Philippines. They said that 3 people, I think they are saying that 3 people got shot in the whole week. I believe that's what they said. Let me see here. Let me go to the beginning here. Let me see.
Hi everybody.
Hey guys.
Okay guys, so let's talk about this very serious matter or topic because we're talking about safety or foreigners' safety.
Three foreigners in the last month have got shot and killed and robbed.
I think he said 4 murders in the last month.
First shot and killed, then robbed. So, and the best of my knowledge, they haven't even held them up. They just shot and killed them and then robbed the body. The recent one was a couple of days ago at a resort.
Yeah, and there's one that about a week ago that it happened in not so far from where we live. It's an hour away or maybe less than an hour, maybe 45 minutes, something like that.
And then I heard on that one, the guy went to the bank and I guess some guys saw him go to the bank and he was walking down the road and they drove up on a motorcycle and shot him and killed him and then robbed him.
It's really alarming because Dennis as foreigner, in the past we like to go places, go to the resorts or wherever, and now it seems like we are hesitant to do whatever we like, going to the resorts, beaches, because especially that one of those foreigners, it happened in the resort, like who knows?
Right.
And there's so many crimes going on around. I'm not being like political here, nothing like that. I'm just talking about the reality of what's going on in here, and it's very
drugs are running rampant again.
yeah, it's very bad right now, and it's really
Guys out there looking for money to buy drugs.
And you also know what happened recently with Marites. Somebody came into her boarding house, burglary.
Looking exactly for money. Is all.
So it's very alarming because you just never know. Like you'll be walking out in the street or somewhere.
Yeah, especially they don't even stop and try to rob you. They just shoot you and kill you and then rob your body.
Yeah, it would have been okay, here, take my stuff, take my money, and then go away. But they take your money and shoot you anyway.
Yeah. It's happened before, occasionally, once in a while, but
Now-
now there's like 3 of them in the last month. Not
3 in the last month.
foreigner in southern Mindanao that
Got kidnapped. Yeah.
But that was for different reasons, I think.
It's really scary. And instead of us we plan on going places, now we have.
Okay, you can watch this video if you want to. I watched it all the way to almost the end. And they just kept going around in circles. It seems like they're both kind of terrified and surprised about what happened, especially her, because they're not after her. They're not trying to come and bother her. They're not out to kill her. They're out to kill the foreigners. Why? Because they think the foreigners always have money. And they said on here, they talked about one person who was targeted. Man, it sounds like America. They were targeted going to an ATM machine. And they were followed home. And the next thing you know, the guy shot him. They say this in the middle of the video. The guy shot him and killed him right outside his condo or wherever he was living. And took his money. Took the money from the dead body, and it was $100 and some that he stole off that guy. Now, let me tell you something about the myth of the Filipina Passport Bros movement that they don't tell you. And these two, okay, are telling you. They're saying it's getting bad right now. It's getting bad right now. Well, listen. First of all, as far as it getting bad right now, I would believe that probably years ago, especially before the pandemic and all like that, the Philippines, and matter of fact, a lot of these celebrities that are still to this day married to Filipinas. This is where the Passport Bro movement came from. Celebrities were going into Philippines, black and white, meeting these lovely Filipinas and running off with these Filipinas. Now, most of the celebrity ones, like there's celebrities, I can name a few, that have went to the Philippines and met their Filipina and brought her to the U.S., and they live safely here in the U.S. because of their money that they share together, or the money that he has to take care of him and his wife as a celebrity. They tell you don't bring your Filipina, especially these white guys that are just out there to retire. They're not super rich. One guy that I watch, I think it's Jasper. Yeah, it's Jasper in the Philippines. He worked his way up to actually living in the BGC. The BGC is like living in Beverly Hills. It's like the Beverly Hills of the Philippines, okay? There's no other place like the BGC. There's other rich neighborhoods where rich politicians live and all like that. There's cities that are gated, or there's cities that have, triple the security. I mean, some of these places in the Philippines, and I'm on the outside looking in. I haven't been there yet, but I watch so much video footage, and not just on YouTube, other places, but they could teach us something here in America about security, because they don't mind spending money on police and security in the Philippines. However, it seems to be that you got all these white men, and I'm not saying that to be racist, but I'm saying that because they do it more than anybody. Nobody is going over to the Philippines and being all hard on for these Filipinos like these white men are. Black men are going over there, and a lot of times the black men don't stay as long. They don't live there. They go there, they stay for so many weeks, days, and months, and then they leave. They come back a year later, 2 years later, 3 years later, whatever. A lot of black men will choose to live there for a while and then turn around and leave. Now, the oldest black men, yes, that they're living off their Social Security, or they're living off their good pension or whatever. They take their pension to the Philippines and get a younger Filipina, and the black ones tend to be a little bit smarter as far as where they live at, knowing that, you're going to live there, and as a foreigner you can't buy a gun, and if your Filipino wife is afraid to own a gun, and all like that, then, you might want to keep moving, and so you don't become a target. You might want to keep moving around a place. You might want to spend less money. You might want to be in the Philippines a little less long at a time because of stuff like this story right here. So the black guys going out there a little bit smarter than these white old farts going out there, and a lot of times the black guys are younger too, so they don't stay as long. Now, the black guys that are staying out there because they're old or whatever, they're smart. They know to keep moving around the Philippines, not just staying in one place. They know to get together and not just be like all alone with just their Filipino alone. They got either other black people living around them, or they got other Filipinos living around them. People want to criticize Calvin, but Calvin lives in a village. Okay? somebody walk on Calvin's property, one of his Filipino neighbors is going to jump on him. Because Calvin lives in a village, okay? They make fun of Calvin and all like that, but when Calvin comes to the Philippines, Calvin has picked a place in the Philippines where, you know, somebody coming on your property that don't belong there, everybody knows about it. It's not like you can just go over there and be sneaking around. You know, anyway. These white men, and I have to say white men because the whole point is their fetish for what they call exotic Filipinas. I love Asian women. I really do. And I love Asian women probably more than white men love Asian women. But I'm not going to let an Asian woman give me half of what I would expect. Even if an American woman wasn't going to give it to me anyway, I'm going to get from her what I expect to get from an American woman. If I go over there with this whole, you know, traditional woman, submissive wife thing, believing that nonsense, and I go over there and she's only giving me half of what I expect, the deal's off. Because I was already waiting for somebody like that over here in America. Okay, I'm going to go over there and, the only difference is, you know, I can have a girlfriend while I'm waiting on a submissive wife. You see what I'm saying? Or I can be getting laid while I'm waiting on a submissive wife. Or I can sleep with a girl and let her have her way with me and spend up all my money, and maybe one of these days she'll pay for it by becoming my wife. Okay, and then even then I gotta watch my back and all like that. It's not all. My point is, it's not all the grapes and raisins and nuts and you know, strawberry shortcake and all like that. They tell you it is, and I can see this in Jesus' name before I even head over there. I had a dream about the Philippines. And I understand the symbolism in the dream of what is going on here. The Lord warned me about the Philippines. And there was once a time when the Philippines was a place of rich peace, especially when the foreigners started coming over there and becoming part of the population and spending, you know, putting their money, investing their money into the country. And back in the day, foreigners would go over there and they would invest in helping the poor because they love the country so much and all like that. Okay? But now today, after the pandemic, you have more poverty. Okay? You have more crime. And let me tell you something on the spiritual level. You got more fornication. More divorce, even though they don't practice divorce. You got more husbands and wives splitting up and sleeping with other people is what that is. Okay? They can't get a divorce, so what they're doing is committing adultery. You know, you got a lot of Filipinos or Filipinas breaking up with Filipinos that they're married to. And then, as soon as the foreigner gets off the plane, they're latching on to him. And all they do when they get divorced is they move to another part of the Philippines. And they move to a part of the Philippines where they can hook up with a foreigner. And usually the foreigner is some old white man like this man here. I'm not saying that he's not handsome. I'm not saying that he's not, you know, what's the word? You know, a man of valor and strength, and he's not a good man. I'm just saying, though, it's not all, you know, honey iced tea and strawberry shortcake. Okay, you know, it's not all it's to be. You go out there, you're on their turf and their culture, and you're learning that you're not Filipino real fast. And even after you've been there years, and the Filipinos are kissing you and serving you and just treating you with so much homage and respect, you're still not a Filipino, okay? And she's kind of shook up about what's going on around them, because I guess it wasn't just in the Philippines, it was actually in their neck of the woods. So they're kind of worried about it, and I don't blame them, and she's worried. It's kind of like a white woman hooking up with a black dude, and the next thing you know, crime follows, because black folks don't have respect for their own people, okay? And so, she hooks up with a black dude, and she thinks that they moved to, a better neighborhood outside the black community, where, they moved into the mixed neighborhood, and he either is going to have trouble with white men that don't want him with a white woman, or he's just going to have trouble with black dudes who want to just disrespect him because he's black like them, and they don't appreciate him having more than them, having a pretty white lady, having you know what I'm saying? It's always something. But this is the thing I want to say. Here in America, first of all, here in America, white men like this guy sitting right here don't live in third world cities. Now, when you're in the Philippines, the joy of the Philippines, when you leave the resort, and matter of fact, all these places, you could go to Colombia, you could go to the Caribbean, you could go anywhere. And if you step away from the resort, you could go to Dubai. I just watched a documentary on Dubai. If you step away from the resort in these third world countries, this is why they call them third world. The reason why they call them third world is not because that they're dirty and slimy and creepy, okay? They call them third world because you have all these resorts. And if you step away from the resort, you drive so many miles down the street, and what are you in? You're in the poverty-stricken area of that country. And so you drive miles across lands, and you go to another resort. And in between every resort, now there are some cities, for example, here in the Philippines, there are a number of cities that are all that they've cleaned up over the years and made them into very beautiful empires. And so they were there before the BGC, but the BGC is the city right now of promise. It is the city of God in the Philippines, okay? You can go to the BGC and all you see is security guards everywhere protecting their money, okay? Protecting their merchandise and everything. Ain't nobody going to roll up and shoot nobody at night or day. There's more people out at night. You can't even get away in that neighborhood, okay, with rolling up and shooting somebody because of the way the place is built and all like that. The minute you pick up speed on one of them cycles, somebody's going to chase you down or something like that, because this is their city, this is their new thing, and they're trying to, and it's more pricey there. So you got a lot of foreigners like this old man, or this middle-aged man rather. You got a lot of men from America going to the BGC, and they can't stay there. Now Jasper, he actually worked his way up to actually live in the BGC. Another guy I like to watch here on YouTube, letting me know all the information about the Philippines. But the Philippines, just like Colombia, just like the Caribbean, just like you go to Honduras or you go to Brazil or anywhere, you step away from the resort site. You step away from the tourist resort. You step away from the tourist areas. You're going to walk right into poverty, and people are going to do all kinds of crazy things to get money off you. Everything from actually jump out of nowhere and grab you, to walking up to you, putting their hands in your pockets. And it's everybody. It's women willing to sell their body, in a drop of a hat. Kids willing to rob you and claim that you're beating up on kids. Men coming up with you, like here in the Philippines, just rolling up on you, like they said, pulling a gun on you. And all these guys do, and this is their problem, they're doing in the Philippines what they don't do here in America, and that's why it doesn't work out for them. Jasper knew that if he's going to really live peaceful in the Philippines, he needs to spend the money. Can't be a cheapskate, okay? Some of these black guys that are living in the Philippines, okay, they've traveled and investigated, and every time somebody got shot or whatever, they investigated the thing. They wanted to know how could this be? How did this happen? Because these black guys are thinking about it. I could get this in America. Okay? What do you mean the brother got shot in his home? What do you mean the brother got shot outside on his porch? Like, what are you saying? Okay? What do you mean they broke into his house and put a knife up to his woman's throat and shot him and killed him and took his money? What are you talking about? But this is the thing. This is how it is. These guys, like my man right here, they go down to the Philippines and they decide to live there. Now, if they're living there, they can't live in a hotel forever. Neither can they live in certain condos forever. There's places in the Philippines, just like there's places here in America, where you have like these condominiums, and there in the Philippines, you have wall-to-wall security. If you have like a condominium, you're not just paying for the beauty of the condominium and the pools and in the lovely apartments. You're paying for the security that they have too, which they could teach us Americans about that. They got security in these places, and these guys are outside your home walking the steps up and down, around and around, sitting over here, standing over there, taking a flashlight and going over there. Okay, they got wall-to-wall security. Wherever there's money, there's security in the Philippines. Wherever there's lack of money, whether you're a foreigner or not, wherever there's lack of money, you're not going to see that much security. Okay? Here in America, the security companies are making money because the police ain't doing their job. And so what happens is there's a lot of security guards that are stationed anywhere. They're putting security guards in patrol cars and having them sit outside people's homes. They're putting security guards, to stand outside doors, inside doors, in lounges and dining areas and everywhere. You can, one of the easiest jobs to get here. You can get a security job as fast as you can get a housekeeping job. Things are so bad right now because of the lack of police versus, the need for more security. And it's not just the fact that we can't. Everybody wants to be a cop, but the thing is, they're not paying the cops. They're not letting the cops do their job. They're putting all these politics into policing. They're treating cops like they're civilians because of all the black crimes and black folks getting killed because of black crime and stuff like that. Now they have this new laws about cops where a cop can barely touch anybody anymore. And so a lot of cops are quitting, and the cops that are taking their place, they're you call a cop to a crime. He's going to yell at you. He's going to come to you and start arguing with you because you called him to a crime. And nobody got shot, nobody got killed, there's no dead body. What you called me for? I called you because this man here is threatening me and all like that. And, so he goes over there and talks to the guy. Oh, he seems like a nice guy. Yeah, well, we'll leave and we'll go down the street and then turn around and come back. Well, why don't you go back inside? Oh, so what you're asking me to do, officer, is you're asking me to not sit out on my own porch. You're asking me to stay in the house because I'm afraid this guy's going to come up. Okay, that's bad policing, right? But that's the kind of stuff that I've had to deal with cops. It's like I call the police and they act like they're trying to arrest me. No, there's a suspect right there. He hit my car. Okay? And he's drunk. What are we going to do about that? Go back inside. Okay. Well, if you're going to fill out a report, shouldn't I be here? If you're going to ask who hit who, if you're going to investigate the crime, shouldn't I be here? Go back inside. Okay. So, and that's the attitude of cops that we have today. And the next thing you know, a black dude, not me, but a lot of black dudes will go off over that kind of attitude coming from a cop. And next thing you know, things got so bad, the brother got shot. Because he tried to wrestle a cop to the ground or something, But the thing is, it's not the cop's fault. It's the politicians and the new police programs that they have created to the new programs that they've created to where they try to actually do police work without arresting anybody. They try to do police work without, arresting somebody for a simple misdemeanor. You got to murder somebody. Don't you know that a simple misdemeanor can lead to murder? If you keep letting it go on and you don't put this guy away or lock this guy up or at least make him pay a fine or make him move out or whatever, he's going to keep on doing it, How many times, even up here where I live, since the pandemic, there's been some characters up here that don't need to be up here that moved up here. And what happens? The cops come up here, they're not allowed to touch them. So they come back again, they're not allowed to touch them. And then they come again, and somebody got hurt. There's blood on the ground, blood going down the street, and the next thing you know, this guy's going to jail. They could have caused him less jail sentence, and nobody else had to get hurt if they had arrested him the first time, But anyway, in the Philippines, it's a little bit different because I got to admit, the cops really do their job. The problem is, in the Philippines, is the opposite. Almost anything can wind you up in prison. You got a woman staying with you, and you don't have no papers on her or anything. Okay, she's not a prostitute. Okay, if she labels herself a prostitute, that might be okay. If she labels herself your wife, okay, well, you better have documentation and you better not let her get away with lying and saying you did something to her, or like here, your wife could say you hit her and there's no bruises, so one of y'all gotta leave. That's the policy. One of y'all gotta leave. Sir, you need to leave, or she needs to leave. One of y'all can leave. Okay, one of y'all can leave. One of y'all can't stay here tonight since you're fighting. But no, all the woman has to do in the Philippines is say that you slapped her, and she don't need no marks or nothing. You could be in jail. And if you're in the Philippines making money while you're in the Philippines, or if you're in the Philippines and you got your money locked up somewhere and that your stuff is unsafe while you're locked up in prison, and little domestic stuff can have you locked up in some slimy prison. And I mean, their prisons are slimy. I've seen photos of what prison life is like. They put you in a container like you're just spoiled food. They don't put you in cells like we do here. They got 100 men in one cell. And they don't separate murderers from misdemeanors. They don't do that. They put everybody in the same cell. It's a crazy thing. It's funny how, there's not like a whole homosexual orgy going on in these places. But the thing is, the smell is so bad. Nobody's thinking about, I guess that keeps the gays out with the smell, being so bad in those places from what I hear. But anyway, this is the problem, and I'm closing. These white men are not doing what they do here in America. Black folks know, and white folks know, that here in America, a white man knows his neighborhood. And when a white man goes looking for a home, whether he's looking for a condo, an apartment, or a house, okay, he does not live in Braddock. He does not live, in Wilkinsburg. Okay, he does not live, I'm from Pittsburgh, he does not live in Homewood. Now, in Homewood, they have places for white people, okay, and white people have, okay, been shot living in these places, living in these condos, because this is the thing, the black people that live in Homewood can't afford to live in these little homes. These homes are strictly paid for by, somebody's wealthy retirement fund. Okay, and you got to be a certain age to live in these places. Meanwhile, right across the street from this white man's home, you got a house looking like, a crooked ice cream cone. It looked like it's about to top over any minute. But these white people live like that. They live in neighborhoods sometimes where they, right across the street, the house is about to fall over. It's so ghetto, it's about to fall over any minute. Okay? And that's what goes on. Okay? And, they do a little bit of that like they do in the Philippines, but they don't do that much. Most of the time, white people know where they want to live. Even if they don't know the neighborhood, they go find out. They know where they want to live. They go investigate a neighborhood before they live in it. And they're able to read about the neighborhood. They're able to talk to other white people. And usually, a lot of white people there. You can drive a car and look around and go park your car somewhere and just sit there and watch everybody. Just like I went somewhere recently while I was on, I had extra day off, so I went out of the area for 2 and I went to one of my favorite neighborhoods, and that neighborhood is known to have like a lot of black issues, a lot of black crime in that area. But I went there and I found out black folks don't come downtown. Now here in Pittsburgh, they come downtown. And when it gets dark out, they're shooting and all like that. I went here, man, it's quiet as a whistle. Black folks don't go into town. And they live right down the street. It's weird. They don't come into town. They stay in their neighborhood. There's enough crime in their neighborhood. Everything they need is right there in the neighborhood. But they don't come into town. But yet at the same time, there's not a whole lot of, in that particular town, there's not a whole lot of bars and clubs and all that stuff for people to go to. But, there's a whole thing about protecting college students in that town because the downtown area actually belongs to the college students, so they're very good at protecting them. But I've been all over that town in broad daylight and nighttime, and black folks don't come into town. They do their crime about 6 miles down the street. Okay? But see, you go and you learn these things. You have to go learn these things. You know what I'm saying? The place where I'm getting ready to move to. Okay? We're not known for crime. We're known for drugs, like they're saying here. That's everywhere. That's getting bad everywhere, but we're known for drugs. Now, in the town that I'm moving to, they're known to people go up there and hide. People will leave places like Pittsburgh and Philadelphia and go up there and hide from the cops. But ain't nobody getting on trains and buses like New York and shooting and killing and setting people on fire. You know, there's barely even domestic crime. And in that town, the cops ain't playing with you either. You know, they're not a sanctuary city. Your neighbors call the cops on you, you just got arrested. Okay, they only need one little bruise. They only need one little conversation or whatever to take you in. And that's the kind of town I like living in. We're a town where, you know, if you're poverty stricken, you might want to go to another town because you're not going to sleep on our streets. You're not going to, you know, you don't see that in that town. You see people that are broke out there looking for jobs. They're out there looking for jobs. They're not laying all over the street. If they're broke, you're homeless, go look for a job. Okay? But here, there is a lot of poverty in the Philippines. And again, you step away from the tourist resort, just down the street, you're going to see it. And people are watching you like a hawk. They're watching your wallet. They're watching you go to an ATM. They're watching what restaurants you go to. They watch who your friends are, your girlfriends are, your brother's girlfriend, your best friend's girlfriend. They're watching you and they're planning their day because of the poverty that goes on in these places. And what they don't want is they don't want to see you every day with your lovely Filipina, because they broke, they can't afford a Filipina. In their own country, they can't afford a Filipina, a woman that looks like them. They can't afford her in their own country. In their own country, you're white behind or black behind, okay, driving down the street, they can't even afford a car. But you come there as a tourist, you drive in a car, and you left the tourist resort to what? Live in their poverty because it's cheaper for you to live in their poverty. So you got all these white men. Everybody, it seems like everybody that goes to the Philippines has a Philippine channel. Everybody that goes to the Philippines makes YouTube content for the Philippines. They can't wait to get there and talk. They can't wait to get there and turn their phones on. One guy I was watching just the other day, he said that, you know, you can be put in jail for almost any reason here, you know, and all like that. Yeah. He didn't want to admit that what had happened to him was he had his phone out and he was around some pretty Filipino girl that was super hot. She wasn't interested in him. He trying to talk to her with his phone on. Be honest, brother, that's what you did. You had your phone on, you got her on your phone. She called the cops on you. These guys can't wait to get to the Philippines and turn their phones on and record everything. And I'm watching, like, even Jasper, I watch him. Now he tries to do it in a way where people don't know he has his camera out, but he obviously has some kind of like body camera or something like that. And people look at him and they like put their hand in front of their face, or they like turn to the right or turn to the left so he doesn't get a full picture of them when he's walking down the BGC. Because everybody, you know, this is not a Filipino zoo. Everybody doesn't want you there taking their pictures and, you know, putting them in your video so you can have YouTube content. Okay? But they do love your money, though. They love your money. All of them, from the wealthy to the poor, they love your money. And I mean, you think people live in poverty here in America. Go look at some of these videos, especially these shorts. These people live in homes. You'll have to excuse my screensaver, just keeps buzzing in. These people live in homes that are not even homes. They live in like these wooden aluminum siding boxes. Okay? And if it wasn't for the fact that it's hot all year round, they would die. Matter of fact, just like Hawaiians, they get all kinds of staph infections and stuff like that because when it rains, it pours. And when it rains, it storms, and rain and winds just knock things over and all like that. And then they have typhoon season, and typhoon season is almost a must every year. And when typhoon season comes, somebody's going to die. Certain people are going to die. The Filipina P did a video a year or two ago where it must have been the first typhoon where nobody died. It destroyed a gas station, it destroyed some homes and buildings and businesses, but nobody died. Everybody knew the typhoon was coming. They knew what location it was coming. They all got out of there and went over to a relative's house or something like that till it passed, and then they went back and rebuilt. And they're used to it. It's part of their culture. They expect it at the same time every year. Sometimes it's a really bad one. Sometimes it's just, a quick one most of the time and it's over. But even some of the foreigners were like making fun of the typhoon. Oh, you said this was gonna happen with the typhoon. Look at us now. Look at us now. But these people going over there telling you on their videos how wonderful and peaceful it is to live in the Philippines. And then they have to tell you this story right here. 3 or 4 people shot all within the same month over the same thing. Okay. Here in America, again, what they're doing different is, even me as a black man, I know, like when I moved up here, and I was in a crisis when I moved out of my other place. But I wasn't going to live in another place like that. Trust me, I don't care if I had to live on the street, I wasn't going to live in another place like that. I was in a crisis. But I found these people, and I said, where is this at? And when they told me where it's at, I said, oh, it's up there. Okay, let me go check that out, because I know. This ain't one of the inner cities of Pittsburgh. So I come up here, and when I first moved up here, it was like mostly white people and some Indian people. Now it's white people, Spanish. We only got like probably about 5% white people up here now. And we probably got less Indians up here now. But we have more Spanish up here. We have migrants up here. We have people up here that probably will be, now that Donald Trump's in office, they'll probably be deported. There's people up here living illegally. There's people up here. There's Africans up here that don't know how to behave. Okay, they're not the nicest people in the world. They get arrested a lot up here. They get into domestic stuff. I had one that was crazy. One that was crazy, and he used to come out here on my porch and smoke. He got his own porch exactly like mine upstairs. He come down on my porch to smoke every day. Why can't you smoke? Oh, his wife don't want him smoking up there on his own porch, so he's gonna come down here and smoke on mine. I said, dude, I don't smoke, And then, he's down in my basement praying to Allah, and he's being loud. He's using cuss words. Like he's speaking in African, but he's using the F word and all like that. He says, oh, I'm just praying. Dude, let me offer you some Jesus, because this whole thing ain't working for you. Obviously, you got cuss words and Arabic coming out of the same mouth, and it's just crazy. And the dude, I think he was kind of like mentally ill or something, but I think his family finally kicked him out and told him to leave because I think he was abusive to his wife. And I met his kid. His kid's a good kid. Me and him was talking in the laundromat. He's a pro soccer player, getting ready to go from high school to college. Good kid. And but after they got rid of him, they ended up moving out. Okay, I don't know if they couldn't afford to live here or they couldn't live here because he wasn't here. I don't know, But these people moving over there, okay, it's no different. I had a dream about this. It's no different in the Philippines than it is here in America. And if you're not careful, it can be worse. Okay? You don't get to leave the tourist resort and take your beautiful Filipina and drive past people that are poor and living on the street and living in these little poverty-stricken neighborhoods where they have houses that are made by hand, like they're you know what I'm saying? A child could build these houses. You just get some wood together and stand it up, and then you put the heavy aluminum siding and wood on top of it to make it stand still, okay? When it rains, it's going to knock it over, and you're just going to put it back together. But yet, you know, you're having children in there, you're eating in there, you know. There's a guy here on YouTube who lives here in the States, and he takes his wife home to the Philippines, and they put all this on video, and they're like doing all their cooking outside because their house is too small to do it inside, especially with guests. So they do all the cooking outside, and I mean, it's a mess. It's like, I worry about sanitation with them because it's like they're cooking in like a kill factory or something, you know. They're cooking in these, like, you know, these basements that are cluttered or whatever. They're cooking in these places. Okay, it's really weird. Okay, and obviously her family is poor. Her family is going through some poverty, and probably one of the rules of their marriage is not only for him to go to the Philippines and take her home every so many months or something and be out there for a while, but he's probably investing a lot of money into their family, okay? And, you know, he shows the video, and it's like we could be anywhere else. Why are we, as much money as he has, why are we here? Like, he's looking around like, you know, the bugs and roaches are killing me, like, you know, God, and then you're cooking the food on the floor. You know what I'm saying? You know, why do we have to, you know? But when he comes here to the Philippines, in order for him to make her family feel comfortable and have dinner with their family, he has to go to a place where they're cooking on the floor, they're cooking in unsanitary places, and all like that. And they cook food. The way they prepare food is different. I mean, she cooks at home. She has a regular stove. She has a dishwasher here in the States. She has, she's able to separate the garbage from the food that was already cooked and refrigerate the leftovers and all that. It's not like that in her mama's house, okay? You know, and it's really weird. But anyway, in closing, this not only is about poverty in the Philippines, this is about poverty everywhere. The Lord Jesus, everything from this and the same thing or similar things going on in here in the U.S., all the way to Donald Trump and that whole war and all like that. All this is because Jesus is coming back soon. Trust me. I mean, he may not be coming back, you know, within the next 5 years. I don't know. But he's coming back soon. We are more closer to the end now more than ever. Look at Christian persecution all around the world, even here in America. Look at, you know, everything that we did in the past, we're doing more now. The drugs, you know, sexual assault and rape, child trafficking, child kidnap, child rape. There's more sex offenders in prison now more than ever before. Drugs out of hand, guns out of hand. And then they got nerve to take your guns. But yet guns is out of hand, but you want to take guns from law-abiding citizens. Here in the Philippines, you're not allowed to have a gun unless you are Filipino. And so the Filipinos And this guy here, he even said, I think he said that a guy pulled a gun on him. You know, you get in an argument, they reach for your gun. You know, people got guns out there in the Philippines, and they love to flash them. The only difference between them and these black kids running around, these running around Chicago in Detroit, okay, these, it's kids that are waving guns and getting on YouTube and showing you that it's kill night. They're going to go out and shoot 100 people or whatever. But here, it's grown men, married men, that are going through poverty. And sometimes they bring their wives with them when they come up and shoot you and rob you and take your money and all like that, because the only way they're ever going to have anything is if they take it off of one of these foreigners. That's the only way they're going to have it. And this girl don't want to say it, but it's like, oh, my life has become more miserable since I've been dating or married. I don't know if they're boyfriend and girlfriend or married. They look like they're just boyfriend and girlfriend. She doesn't have a ring on her finger, neither does he. So they're just boyfriend and girlfriend living together. God don't like that. God will let bad things happen to you when you live in fornication. I'm just saying. God don't like that. God does not like that. And then God don't like it anyway, because you can't get a divorce in the Philippines. So half the time when you come over here and you meet a woman, that's somebody else's wife. She's not legally divorced because she can't get a divorce in the Philippines. God don't like that. God don't like that. But I'm closing. If they want to change things, the idea of living in the Philippines and living a good life, you might reconsider. That's why when I go to the Philippines might be my second home if I ever go. I can tell you right now, I'm gonna feel like it needs to be my second home, especially if I go out there and I make friends. I'm gonna want it to be my second home. But if I meet a woman, she's going to be an American, and we can go back to the Philippines every so many months, okay? But one of the things I'm not going to do is I'm not going to be all over the Philippines like a lot of these white boys are. White old men are doing. I'm not going to be all over the Philippines. I'm going to know, like I do here in the States, I'm going to know what hood this is and what goes on in this hood. And I know where I live, okay? But, if I have a Filipina, I will buy her house. It will be in her name. If I marry a Filipina, I'll buy her house. It will be in her name. And she will buy a gun. If she's gun chicken, get out my face, get out my house. I don't need you here to be gun chicken. You know what goes on. You can't afford in your country to be gun chicken when everybody got guns. Okay? No. Ain't nobody gonna come in and come in here and come after my money without a gun or a knife. You gotta have a gun. And if she thinks that she's too much of a woman to shoot a gun, okay, we got a problem. It's not gonna work out because I can't own a gun in my name. Now here in America, I own a few, but I can't take my guns to the Philippines. So, sweetheart, we need to take you out and teach you how to shoot, okay? But I'm not going to stay there long enough for people to be targeting me. I'm not going to live in neighborhoods that are crime infested and poverty stricken, because the same rule applies here. The same rule applies in the Philippines that applies here. Especially, like they said, things are getting bad. They're getting dangerous. Wherever there is, and I put it here in the comment section, wherever there is poverty, there is crime and death. Wherever there is fornication, okay, and illicit sex going on, there's going to be violence, and there's going to be misuse of money. Okay? That's just the way it is. And so, God bless you. Thank you for watching. I'm going to finish watching the end of this. But if you ever plan to go to the Philippines, there are parts of the Philippines that are, they don't tell you this, but there are parts of the Philippines that make parts of America look like shut up and shut the front door. Okay? But it's going to cost you. These old men going out there claiming that, oh, you know, I'm living really good in the Philippines. Yeah. If you live in a neighborhood that's like Homewood, Pittsburgh, if you live in a neighborhood that's like Braddock, Pittsburgh, where you got all these poverty-stricken people staring at you, looking for an opportunity. Okay? No, you got to do the same thing out there you do here. Learn your hood. Go to the neighborhoods. Stop being a cheapskate. Go to the neighborhoods where you know that are less poverty. Wherever there's less poverty, there will be less crime. The Bible even says it. The Bible says people need to do crime to eat. People can't eat if they don't do crime. If you know, the Bible says they'll have mercy on a person that'll do crime so that he can put a morsel of food in his mouth. And people are just jealous. They're jealous. You're out there with a Filipina, they can't get one. Okay? You know, she's out there with a foreigner who got money, and she's poverty stricken. Of course they're gonna rob you. Of course they're gonna you know, what would I do if I had kids and me and my wife were living on the street? What heist would I do that I might be able to feed my kid? What heist would I do that I might be able to do something for my wife that I ain't been able to do for her in a long time? Would I rob somebody's house to feed my family? You'd be surprised how you change when you ain't got no money. You'd be surprised how your morals change when you're poverty stricken. You'd be surprised. Let it happen to you and see what happened. You'd be surprised. But anyway, I'm out. I know this video probably was already long, so I'm out of here. God bless you.